In this episode, we're going back to my earliest memories of having a barbecue. You Americans call barbecuing like low and slow meat cooking like brisket and ribs. In the UK, we call barbecuing anything that's like outdoor cooking on a grill or like on the Kamado Joe that we've got here. But so my earliest memories having a barbecue would be having like a little tiny disposable one or a kettle, and we'd always have seafood. And there's one thing I don't see enough online is seafood recipes on these Kamado cooking ceramic eggs. So today I'm gonna make my style, Auntie Liz style, Mussels marinière, and we're going to finish it off with a whole baked snapper. And I'm going to be featuring it on my Kamado Joe, the connected Joe. So we're going to use the automatic fire starter to help light it, and then we're going to use the divide and conquer system to cook both the fish and the mussels at the same time. Isn't that amazing? Thank you very much, Kamado Joe, for gifting us the barbecue to use for the series. Gotta wear protection kits. Now that I've got covered up properly, we're going to fill the charcoal. I want this really, really hot today because we're going to do a lot of direct cooking, so directly over the fire. And so I'm going to use quite a bit of charcoal, but not too much, otherwise it's going to take absolutely forever to light up. Now I haven't filled it completely with charcoal. I think that's plenty. It's kind of like, I would say, 60% full. But the best bit is, it's going to light it all for me. Just let me know that it's turning on. And I want to get this like roasting. So if you look here on this thermometer here, they have this very handy little guide that shows you what sort of temperature ranges you're looking for. And I'm looking for like a steakhouse searing temp, so anything above 300 degrees centigrade. So I'm gonna pop it down here, turn it on. Just set the temperature. It asks you to close the lower draft door, and then we're going to set the temperature after, which is pretty else scorching. And this button here with a little lightning bolt is the automatic fire starter. Push it, and that's gonna light for me. Amazing. Okay, so the two main accessories I'm gonna use today is this stainless steel mesh grill from Kamado Joe. And this is great because I'm gonna get this searing hot, and it's provide enough coverage. So it's a little bit more than, because I'm cooking with fish, or say if you're cooking with vegetables as well, this is brilliant. You see this one here, there's a lot of grills and the fish can maybe just stick to that a little bit too much. Whereas this one is gonna get really nice and hot and give a nice skin, so a bit more surface contact, but I want that soaring hot. So I'm gonna put that in when it's safe to do so. And then for my mussels, because you don't want the mussel juice to go all the way through the grills, this is the perfect answer. So this is the cast iron pan. It's the Half Moon one, and the mussels are gonna all cook in there. So basically like having a little saucepan. I love this. This one also comes with sort of a mesh hole version as well, but I'm not gonna use that today. But enough talking about all my little toys and accessories. Let's prep all the dish. All right, for Mussels marinière, there are quite a few recipes out there. The one that I like to make is you just keeping it really simple. Shallots, garlic, and white wine. But to make it a bit more interesting, I'm gonna add some fennel, because I love the flavour of the aniseed with mussels, and some chilli, because everything I think has to have a little bit of a hit, a kick in it, and a nice like good squeeze of lemon in there. So you want to cut everything really, really finely and small. So the reason I'm doing mussels is one of my earliest memories of when we were visiting France. So we couldn't really travel very far when we were younger, and we would go to Brittany and we would go camping. And I absolutely loved it because it was so exotic back then for us. I mean, we're talking like 80s now. Mussels would be sort of their local speciality. This dish, you can get them by the buckets back there, and it was just one of my favorites. We would order like this huge bucket of mussels and just demolish the whole thing. So I'm just slicing the shallots really nice and fine because I want them to cook nice and quickly. We're gonna saute them in that little pan over the charcoal, and you want to get a good like handful of shallots. That will be plenty actually. Wonderful, nice and thin. Right, that aside, we're going to prep the garlic next. A non-negotiable in this dish. Garlic and mussels is heavenly match. I can definitely smell that charcoal burning now. That definitely, the Kamado Joe is working her magic. Now that we've finally peeled that, we're just going to give them a crush. You don't want to get a massive lump of garlic in your mussels. But also you don't want it too fine that it's just going to burn instantly. It's kind of like the in-between would be perfect. Wonderful, I'm happy with that. Next up, I'm going to prep some fennel. Perhaps not so strictly traditional, but I absolutely adore it in my mussels. And I'm actually going to use the stalkier, woodier parts, and I'm just going to slice it quite thin. Fennels are actually really expensive here in the UK now. Maybe going to use these little bits at the end. They'll cook really quickly, the little fennel tops. And then I'm just going to slice the bottom off, cut that down in the middle in half, and then fennel has this very tough core on the inside. You just want to put a knife down the middle, like a little V shape, to try and wedge it out, like so. Just discard that. And then you can cut this in half again, so you've got quarters, and we're just going to slice it fine. And I'm going to save this for the fish. So all of this veg is now prepped. We're going to finish it off with my treat, optional, but in my opinion, not optional. Red chilies. You can, if you're not a big fan of heat, take the seeds out. But we all know we can handle the heat here, so I'm just going to finely slice it. Don't forget to wash your hands after you've touched chili. And I'm just going to roughly chop it up. Now that's all done. So alongside the mussels, I'm going to cook a whole baked fish. This is one of my parents' favourite things to cook on the barbecue. Next up, we've got to prepare the mussels. Here's some I prepared earlier. These absolute beauties. And the best way to prepare them is when you get hold of them from the supermarket, just give them a tap and run them underwater. Now, if they start closing like this little fella has, they're still alive, good to go. And then a lot of the time, you'll find mussels will have this hairy looking beard, you know, a little goatee sort of thing. This is very completely natural. This is just how mussels attach themselves to something. You just need to pull it out. Discard that. You don't want that in your food. But always check over each and every one of your mussel. You don't want there to be like a broken shell, just like this. You can see. Then the other thing is if they don't close after you've run them under some water or give them a good old hard tap, then discard them because that means they have died. Sometimes the mussels can be a little bit mucky, depends on where you get them from, but just run a knife across them just to get rid of any sort of like bits and bobs stuck to there, or any like, it could be a little bit muddy, depends on how they've been farmed or where they've been caught. Just a little bit of that extra 1% care in your food and your prep makes a big difference in the meal because all of that's got to be cooked together, so you don't really want all of that stuck on the outside into your food. Moving on to my whole baked fish. I'm really excited about this. And so I thought I'd get probably the biggest freaking snapper there is. Look at that. Oh. Now, isn't that just an absolute, like, glorious creature? I want to do it justice. We're going to give it a go on the Kamado Joe. You can see how fresh it is. Just look at the eye. So there's a few things I need to do to prepare it. I'm so excited. Okay, so in all that time that we just prepped all that veg and all our mussels, had a look at our fish, that has come up to temperature. The Kamado Joe has come up to temperature. So I'm going to put the grills in now because I want them to preheat really well. Always use protection kits. So I'm placing this on the closest part, which is just down here, because I want that to get really, really hot. And then I'm going to use this griddle here just to make another shelf a bit higher up, because the mussels are going to sit on here. Adding those grills in has dropped the temperature quite considerably. So let's just be patient, let those preheat back up to the sort of searing temperature, so above 300 degrees centigrade. And I'm going to cook that fish first because it's so much bigger, and mussels only take maybe a few minutes. To prepare the fish, I'm going to just score the skin. This is just going to help get some of that heat in, penetrate it a bit more. I'm going to flip it over and do it on the other side. And then I'm going to stuff it with some extra fennel, some of that lovely fennel that we sliced earlier. Good old seasoning. I'm going to do some lemon slices, sliced quite nice and thin, and that's going to go into the belly. Just turn that around so you can see. Gorgeous. Already smells like summer and feels like summer. And then just coat the fish really liberally in some really good quality olive oil. Be careful, I flip this over now. Season up. gorgeous. I'm so excited to have this fish. Whew, it's really getting hot now. I'm just going to use the probe that comes with the Kamado Joe and just put it into the thickest part of the fish. Now, to cook fish, you should take it to 63 degrees centigrade. And I'm hoping this is going to fit. I always choose the big ones, don't I? Woo! Beautiful. That smells so good, and I'm immediately transported back to France and in the comfort of my own home, my garden. This smells so incredible. Now I don't want to forget to preheat my little pan, so that's just going to go on there as well. Because this is fish, I'm not going to poke it, prod it, move it around too much. It's not like steak. I want to get a nice good colour and a good crust on there before I flip it over, very gently and carefully. I'm going to use a really good glug of olive oil at the bottom. I think we're good to go on this. So the trick is we're going to try and flip it over. Don't worry about that. This is absolutely fine. It's really nice and crusty. I'm absolutely loving that. I'm just trying to poke the filling back into there. And now it's time to cook our mussels. So in go our shallots and fennel. And you just want to sweat the garlic and shallots and fennel just until they're coloured. In with the chilli next. The mussels. I won't be able to do all of the mussels. I'm going to do them in batches for my family tonight. I think that'll be plenty, and I'll do the next batch. And then my favourite part, a glug of wine. I'm just going to finish it off with a little bit of garlic and herb butter. And a handful, sprinkling of fresh parsley from our garden. This is definitely one of my death row meals. I absolutely love this dish. I love good quality seafood. Look at that. And what we're going to do, we're just going to close this. I'm just taking the fish off now really carefully. So I reckon that's come to temperature. Smells so good. Honestly, these two together, I'm extremely happy. I'm going to refrain squeezing any lemon across that fish right now because that skin is super crispy. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like, oh, it's so crispy. I'm just gonna dress this up with a little bit more lemon and a really crisp, fresh white wine. Lots of fresh lemon. It's smoky, salty, a little bit of chili heat at the end there. Absolutely glorious. Wow, I'm really, really happy with that and how easy it was to cook those two, one easy, one difficult on a single cook. And I cannot wait to show this to my family later. They're going to be so, so happy. Just enjoy every part of this fish. You can eat around the cheek. That's the prized part here. It's absolutely delicious. Let me know, what's your childhood memories that you might have of like when you were younger? Any early memories of barbecue? Let me know, put them in the comments below. And if you have any questions, again, about the Kamado Joe, leave us a comment and I'll see if I can answer it next time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am absolutely melting now in places that it shouldn't be melting. And so I will see you next week.